Heather, welcome to the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so pumped to be here.
Yeah, Heather and I think we stalked each other on Instagram for a while before my daughter sent you an Instagram story of her forehead so lovingly. And that kind of got us started on a conversation to be like, hey, let's talk.
I loved it. It was the highlight of my day. She added in a couple of emojis as well. It was
And the
awesome.
little slider thing. She's 3. I have no idea how to do any of that.
It was so good.
She's a digital good. She's also my junior marketing assistant is what I like to call her. I owe her credit for this. I'm so excited to bring the mindset part of what you offer and the brilliance that you've had over the past year, especially with the pandemic, on how those that really address their mindset, their limiting beliefs, looked at possibilities versus circumstances, and how that helped them get through such struggles that most beauty business owners face. So can you tell me just how did you teach that your thoughts control your life and how that actually has the greatest impact on your future success as a business owner?
Yeah. So I witnessed last year my clients in a membership I had when the pandemic first hit, and, clients all across the country, brick and mortar beauty business owners who had to close their doors, obviously unexpectedly, and watched how they were able to manage that circumstance that happened that was outside of our control, and whether or not they were able to redirect their thoughts to something that was going to serve them and their business, or if they were going to go down the rabbit hole of feeling like they were completely out of control.
Right.
So when I witnessed this, I realized strategy matters for sure. Like having a roadmap and a game plan. I know you and I both are in alignment on that. But strategy means nothing if you are not able to manage your mind as the CEO of your business so that you can handle the unexpected circumstances that inevitably will always happen to us as entrepreneurs.
Right. The pandemic is not unique as an obstacle you're going to face. It's unique in that it was global, worldwide, but as a solo business owner, you're going to face ups and downs in your business, irregardless of whether the rest of the world is experiencing it or not.
100%. And I want to clarify that this is not about BS, toxic, be positive all the time. You want to
just woo woo.
An event like that happens, you are going to feel crappy for a while. And that's okay. Like mourn the fact that the plans you had for the circumstances, whether it's the pandemic or something else that inevitably will happen in entrepreneurship as a business owner, it's okay to take a moment to say, you know what, like this feels crappy, and to process them emotion. Like I'm not about like just looking at the bright side of things all the time. It's okay to take a moment, pause, and be like, crap, like, and process that. But then at some point, we want to process that emotion and then move on and redirect our thoughts to something that's going to help us produce ultimately the results we're really shooting for in our businesses. And ultimately, over the long run, those of us that are able to handle circumstances that are outside of our control and be able to redirect our brains and manage our minds to be able to still show up will ultimately, there's no way you can't be successful by being able to manage that.
It's in life in general. It's not just necessarily business ownership. That is a life skill to master. Is yes, this circumstance came up. It was unplanned. It was not what I wanted for myself. I'm going to take a moment and really just process the grief of letting go of whatever plans I had, but what now? Not looking at, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, but what can I do? Right?
100%. 100%.
Let's talk about the belief diamond that really helped kind of catapult and put this into a framework that somebody could follow. That's not just, woo, let's be positive all the time. Like what were the action steps that you taught your students at the time?
Yeah. So the belief diamond was kind of in response to what I've witnessed beauty business owners, especially, that they're unintentionally limiting themselves in the ability to grow their businesses specifically in these 4 categories that show up. So belief in your offer, and we're going to give examples here, so hang with me. Belief in your offer, which is your services, your products, whatever it is, your main promise, the solution that you offer your people. Belief in your clients, in their ability to be able to afford your services, and their ability to be compliant with whatever it is that they need to do in order to get the best outcome for whatever your services provide. Belief in your market, and then belief in you. So belief in your market is believing that it's not too competitive, is usually how this shows up the most.
And then market.
Right. And then belief in you, that you have the ability, that you are good enough right where you're at right now to direct the ship, to provide amazing outcomes for your clients. And so those 4 categories, if you are, which none of us bat 1,000 on those 4 categories, by the way, at all times.
Right.
But if you're aware that these 4 areas, you might be having specific limiting beliefs, unintentional limiting beliefs that are popping up in these areas, and you're able to notice them and uncover them, that they're limiting you, then you will have so much more opportunity to look for evidence of ways and to creatively super think your way out of any problem and into new opportunities as well.
So I know this comes up that people don't even necessarily see circumstances as something that they can change. So how does mindset start to shift what you look at if you're like, no, I can't open my business. Like, I literally cannot open my business. The government said shut down. How do you start to apply the belief in you, your offers, your clients, your market, when you're like, this is the circumstance I'm facing?
Right. So the first step is actually becoming aware of like, what are the facts versus the drama that you have about the facts.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
Because the fact was, I mean, legitimately, all businesses had to shut down at some point. And then even when, depending on what state you were in or where you are in the world, even when they opened up again, most were at limited capacity in some way as well. And so that was the fact, right? That was the fact that was outside of your control. Now, how you thought about that fact was in your control. And so the idea that you could think that your business, some people thought, my business is doomed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we can make it through this, and I watched business owners spin out on that. But then I had some business owners that like really just redirected their brains to look for solutions and had thoughts like, how can I still show up for my clients even when I cannot physically meet with them? And I mean, people were coming up with virtual offers, putting together kits.
Yes.
I mean, just showing up for their clients in new ways. How can I set my business up? This is another elective thought that they could have. How could I set my business up for epic growth once this thing shakes out? So what are the marketing things that I just always said I never had time to do that I could be spending time doing on to set myself up for success afterwards? So that is redirecting your brain. That's coming up with thoughts that are going to produce emotions that are going to empower you, help you to feel determined, rather than thoughts of, I'm doomed, there's nothing I can do, that are really disempowering. They're not going to help you come up with the creative ideas to possibly still bring in revenue, even while your doors are closed.
Yeah. And I think that's so huge with mindset, especially when it comes to finding creative solutions to problems that you've never faced before. When you are in a state of stress, scarcity, fear, your creativity goes out the door. You're in survival mode. You can't come up with creative solutions. So even I had to go through this of like getting back to the basics of self-care and making sure that I was taking care of myself, that I was mentally in a good spot in order to have more creativity. And honestly, it took me shutting down my business in February to get that break, to then come back and feel more empowered, more creative, more inspired than ever, and have so much more clarity on the solutions that I can offer people. And some of us can get to it really quick. There were a lot of people that as soon as it shut down, innovation, new businesses, new ideas started popping up right away. And then there's those of us that kind of took a while to like get through the wave of it and really look at what can I do? And there's people that are still struggling with that in this whole new world that we live in, knowing that something like coronavirus can exist.
100%. 100%. And that's why I started the conversation off with, you don't want to use this as a weapon against yourself either. Like, honor the fact that wherever you were, and many of us had other life circumstances that weren't none of us are living our perfect little lives, right? Like, we all.
My life is a total Instagram feed. I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything's just so perfect and pretty. Everything's in a beautiful filter. No, it's like, it's honoring that it took some of us longer than others to like really just process what was happening. And I think that's 100% okay. But then at some point, it's great to know that we have agency over deciding what we want the long-term effects to be by deciding to choose to redirect our thoughts to some of the, to produce some of the feelings that are going to serve us better so that we can show up how we want to show up after we've had a chance to process. And I love, Tara, that you said, like, we need, and I think business owners don't account for this enough, we have to have spaciousness.
Yeah.
I like calling it luxurious spaciousness. Like, you always need to be creating space to think and to honor. Like, we are in fight or flight sometimes, or we're in just overwhelm because we just keep adding on the things that we need to do and not pausing so that you have time to actually think and creatively come up with ideas. You can't come up with creative ideas of how you could innovate in your business if you are so bogged down with all the stress and all the other things as well.
That's why I can't stand the hustle culture, because it's just go, add more, without getting you any closer to the result that you're actually wanting and the lifestyle that you want. You kind of just become addicted to the chaos of, if things aren't chaotic, then something must be wrong. And for those of us that like to be problem solvers, when there's not problems to solve, we create problems to solve. I am one of those people, and it's something that I have to be very aware of, that when things feel calm, it doesn't mean something's wrong. I should be doing more. And I still have to fight this battle and this urge to be busy, because I find worth and value in achievement and busyness. But that's actually getting me further away from the lifestyle I want, which is much more peaceful.
100%. 100%. And we're in an age where we've never had more information on things we could be doing than ever in the history of time.
And being accessible. We are accessible 24/7. And so there's no built-in, like, shops closed, time to clock out, and I can get to home and like be with my family. It's like, well, now I got to look at social media, and I got clients texting me at all hours. And it's just kind of this constant accessibility that we have a digital leash on.
100%.
All right, so let's kind of go over some, you have 5 examples of how limiting thoughts might be playing out in beauty businesses right now. So let's take the mindset stuff, now that the pandemic is mildly calming down, fingers crossed, of how we can start to apply mindset shifts in our business now.
Yes. So let's dive in. So the first limiting thought that falls under one of the categories of the belief diamond is, my clients can't afford it. Mm-hmm. And this falls under lack of belief in your clients. And this shows up in so many different nuanced like thoughts behind the scenes. But it's this idea, and I have this theory that oftentimes beauty business owners engage in something I call people-pleasing pricing. Okay. And it's basically that idea that you limit your pricing, you limit maybe the scope of what you recommend, right? Like, you are like, oh, they're not going to buy like a whole series, or they're not going to like buy the more expensive version of it or something. And it's because you're thinking about what your clients are thinking. So like, you're in your client's wallet, basically. So you're thinking to yourself like, oh, she's not, and it's usually stems from our own limiting money beliefs that we have as well for ourselves. But thinking that our clients are going to balk at the price, thinking that well, this is too expensive. They're not going to commit to this. And then automatically either never raising our prices, charging too little, maybe not even a price that's sustainable as a business owner.
Right?
We've seen that a lot. Or you're limiting your recommendations overall. You're like, oh, well, they just didn't, spent on XYZ. I'm not going to recommend this product that I know would actually improve the outcome of what they are getting, but I'm not going to recommend that because I feel like, oh, they've already invested in this. So the first step is actually becoming aware of these thoughts that are happening in the background. 9 times out of 10, you don't even need to redirect your brain to like thinking new things. It's just uncovering that you've had these limiting thoughts happening in the background. So
questioning, like, why do I think that? I know a lot of times as beauty professionals, we sometimes become therapists. So we take empathy with this hardship that our client's going through. And all of a sudden we feel like we're a jerk for suggesting they get aftercare or retail items, even though they said they just lost their job, but they're still investing in essentially luxury services. They're still creating that me time. And you don't get to choose where your client spends their money. That's not up to you. It's up to them to figure out their budget and what they can afford. But if you have a product, like most of your products should be products you believe in that are going to either create better results or enhance the results they're already getting. And it's actually robbing both the business and the client of getting that result. So even why is it I'm thinking this client can't afford this, or I shouldn't offer this, or it's too salesy. So what's a perspective shift that you might offer for those that think my clients can't afford XYZ?
Well, a perspective shift would be, first of all, understand that if you've been having this thought in the background, you very likely have unintentionally attracted clients who are more price sensitive, because you've unintentionally in your marketing been, one, overcoming objections by people who are price sensitive, offering discounts all the time. And so you have likely unintentionally, possibly unintentionally attracted clients that are more price sensitive anyways. That's okay. Okay. But what you want to think about is redirecting to thoughts that are not only to, first of all, thinking about your best clients, uncovering who are your best clients. Your best clients aren't probably price sensitive. Your best clients appreciate the fact that they're coming to somebody who specializes at what they're doing, and they are investing not only in what, lashes or whatever it is, they're investing in your expertise, they're investing in your experience. And so a helpful exercise can sometimes be to write even down all of the things, like all the ways you've invested in yourself, all the, awesome outcomes you've gotten for your clients. Really actually redirecting your brain into why you are such a valuable expert to begin with, so that you are focused on that. And also understanding what helps lead as well is, like, I'll give an example. Like, my hairstylist, I get my hair colored. I also have tape and extensions, which aren't in right now, but normally I do. And my hairstylist was checking me out one day. And here I'm spending hundreds of dollars on this service. And she's like, there's this product that she kind of alluded to, but she said, you know what, this maybe next time, because this time you're checking out is really expensive. She's like, but next time you come in where it's not as expensive, you can buy. Like, what are you doing?
Right? Like, I would buy it.
I want to buy it, right? Like, I'm knee deep into this. Like, I want the extra thing. So not limiting, like redirecting your brain. What is going to be the best outcome results? Not like intentionally just charging more to charge more for no reason, but like, what is the best? How can I make sure that my recommendations and my pricing are going to provide, not only attract the best clients, but also make sure that I'm not limiting what the results, what I can get based on limiting the scope of my recommendations.
Yeah. And this might lead into your next example, but I think what a lot of the fear is when it comes to, they allude to products and they're like, gosh, they really could use this, but I'm just going to say, not right now, is they're almost afraid of maybe the no. And that this feeling of rejection, or like, am I too pushy? Am I too salesy? Is this too spammy? Like, is my client's going to be turned off by this offer? So kind of go into the belief around selling being spammy or pushy or icky or just ugh.
Yeah. Which so many people have an underlying belief of selling is spammy, selling is icky, and it's so sneaky how it pops up as well. And oftentimes it's from negative experiences we've maybe had with
Like the mall, the phone guys at the mall.
Yeah, people spamming us in our DMs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are negative selling practices, but your listeners are not, they're on the other side of the scope. They're thinking that selling is icky and spammy and not thinking about the flipping it, and that selling really is making offers to help.
Right. Agreed.
And when you are focused on the problems that you solve and the solution, like, which is making people feel more beautiful and just that they're investing in themselves and all the wonderful things that beauty professionals help their clients to feel, when you redirect your thoughts to like, selling isn't spammy and icky, selling is literally just making offers to help. And when you think of it as being in service to your clients, like you're helping them overcome their problems, you're helping them achieve the results that they ultimately want, then your duty is to sell when you think of it like that.
Yeah, and you have to look at it, not, it's such a short-term perspective to look at, oh my gosh, if I sell them this, they're spending more money right now. But look at the longevity of what that's helping them to achieve, probably better results if you're selling stuff that you believe in. So for the instance in the lash world, lash cleanser is something that every client should go home with, because your regular facial cleanser is not meant to be in or around your eyes, and baby shampoo is meant for butts, not for eyeballs. So if you're going to help, if you sell your client a $30 lash cleanser, which is kind of on the high end for lash cleanser, but they can go an extra week for their services in between their fills, then over time, they're actually spending a lot less because they invested in the product, because they're getting better retention and better results. So saying like, oh, I don't know, this is really expensive, she just invested all this money. She is seeing it as an investment. At least, a lot of clients will, because they spent this money, they want them to last and get the best results. So you're actually, like you said, helping them. When you educate them on the benefits of why it is that you recommend, not just, I want to push this on you because I need some sales, then you're really coming from a place of help. And they can say no, they can say yes. It may take 3 or 4 times of you bringing it up to be like, I know your retention is struggling. This is going to help you. Would you like to try it out this week? No? Okay, then I'm going to let it go.
Right. And it's not failing ahead of time, right? Like deciding that they're going to be a no and then not making, like you said, the offer at all because you're worried about the no. And it's okay if they say no, but still educating them so that you are giving them the option to have the best outcome.
Yeah. I swear every time I have not had a hairdresser yet who has been helpful in selling retail. I have to specifically ask, do you have a shampoo, like a purple shampoo that I could use? And she'll go, yeah, I do. And then she just never brings it up again. And I'm like, can I have that purple shampoo? It's like, why am I asking to spend money with you? Like, I'm making it so easy. And this has been every hairstylist. It's like creating the opportunity to just ask a question. We put so much meaning on, are they going to say yes? Are they going to say no? I don't know. What does this mean about me? And it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's simple data. I'm going to give them the opportunity to purchase something that's going to help. If they don't want to purchase it, great. We're going to move on. It's not this life is over, my business sucks, I'll never be successful kind of meaning.
100%. And it's also like your clients will reflect back to you the emotions you're having. So if you're uncertain and you're kind of trepidatious in your recommendations, they're going to vibe that.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I'm like confident in the fact that this is going to make your overall long-term outcome better, then they're going to vibe that too. Right. And I hate the word vibe, but like, you know what I'm saying? Energetically, like if you seem uncertain about what you are advising your clients on, they're going to feel, they're going to sense the uncertainty as well.
Yeah. And this all stems from having especially when it comes to selling, having something that you believe in. So if you believe that your services
100%.
are going to get them a result, a solution to their problem, then you can be that much more confident in talking about it and being like, look, I know this is going to help you. Like if you have a woman who has really sparse eyelashes, don't give her classic because it's just going to enhance the sparseness. Offer her volume because that's really going to help her get that result of looking and feeling younger. Yeah, it's going to cost more, but it's that value of that service and that result is higher for her because of the problem it solves.
100%. Yeah. And it comes down to belief in your offers, belief in your clients, like really honing all those 4 belief categories, because at the end of the day, it also will just help you to actually enjoy the selling experience more. Because then you will believe that when you believe in your offers and the outcomes and that your clients want them and that they have trust in you and all of those things, then you get to experience your business so much better.
Yeah. And you actually have positive results, like people buying the products and services that you're trying to sell.
Yes.
Nothing more motivating.
And then their lashes do last longer, right?
Yeah.
Because you've given them the advice that's going to help them with the outcome, right? Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. Let's do one more example just for time's sake. Which one do you think is the most impactful?
Let's do, since we've talked a lot about, we've talked about social media. Let's do, there's just too much competition in my area.
The saturated market belief.
Everybody's got too much competition in their area. So ultimately, what you focus on grows. Mm-hmm. And so with social media, which is great, using social media, it's a great marketing opportunity. Love it in so many ways. And it's, the negative of it is that you are hyper aware of what all of your competitors are doing. And what I find is that beauty business owners especially are, one, following too many of their competitors, spending too much time on social media, consuming content from their competitors. Now, I'm all about community over competition, so it's not that. But what you focus on grows. Like I always say, when I was trying to get pregnant, all I could see were pregnant women everywhere. Right. When you're buying a new car, like all of a sudden everybody has that car, right? So when you direct your attention to what all your competitors are doing, which is so much easier to do now with social media. Like before social media, like you'd really have to try harder to know what your competitors were doing. Right. Now we are like inundated with dozens of our competitors. We know like all of the competitors in our area, and it's easy for us to check out and see what they're doing and to ultimately just feel like our market is totally saturated. So step 1 is to become aware and to actually monitor the amount of time you're spending consuming your competitors' content as well.
Right. Because that is more of, I kind of distinguish between personal use of social media and business use of social media. Mm-hmm. Business use, you are creating content and intentionally going out to engage with your ideal follower, your ideal client, as opposed to consuming it where you're just passively scrolling rather than researching. And social media can be the most toxic thing for your mental health if you let it get there. And that's where like the personal use of it comes from, because you're assigning meaning to, oh my God, there she is again. She's posting so consistently. Her reel got like 100 likes and mine just don't do anything. And it's just this constant comparison game, as opposed to what I do is get in, get it done, and get out. Like, I don't want to spend any more time on social media than I have to. I don't have a personal account. I don't use it for personal reasons. I only follow people like you who inspire me or who make me feel motivated. If there's an account that over time starts to make me feel ick, I unfollow them. I just don't need to be exposed to my competition because it doesn't bring up a good side of me. It doesn't make me feel good when I leave social media. So it's training me not to want to go on there when I would like to use it for business purposes,
100%. And it also stifles your creativity unintentionally. Like you end up looking for inspiration, but then you don't look to yourself for your own creative ideas of what you could come up with. And so that is why there's so much of the same content in the industry as well, is because everybody's spending so much time looking at what everybody else is doing. Yeah. I really choose to believe that this industry is like, we don't have enough, like it's growing so rapidly. We do not have enough practitioners to actually keep up with the demand. And so I direct my brain there. That's the perspective shift I would recommend all of your listeners take, is that, and then when you have that perspective shift and you start to redirect your brain there, you will look for evidence, because our reticular activating system, the front part of our brain, will follow. It's a good little worker bee. Like if you tell it that there's too much competition in the area, it will go out like a heat-seeking missile and find evidence to back up that thought. If you think the thought, the industry, there's just not enough practitioners and like it's exploding and we just can't keep up with the demand, then your brain will look for evidence that that is true as well.
Like when you think you have the belief of I don't have enough money, you're going to notice the bills when they come in. You're going to notice that, I didn't make as much money this month as last month, as opposed to coming from maybe an abundance mindset of money is everywhere. I am in a business where I get to create money on demand. What do I want to sell to increase money? Are there opportunities? If I just raise my prices by $5, or if I just focused on selling retail, you come from an abundance mindset as opposed to scarcity. Same thing with competitors. I look at saturated markets like, there's a Starbucks on every corner, right? Starbucks is often in competition with itself, but Starbucks is also competing with people who make coffee at home. It's a different audience, right? People go to Starbucks because they're loyal to the brand. They like the experience. They like the taste. They like the frappuccinos. But somebody who makes coffee at home isn't that same target market that Starbucks is going for. And yet 100%. They're abundant. They're everywhere. They make really good coffee. They have their loyalists like me who have been gold card carrying members for 10 years. It's just, you have to look at not every client is my client. And there's likely even your competitors, something that makes you unique and different as opposed to them. And that is something that can be your, what I call blue ocean, like no competition, because you serve a specific client who has a specific problem with your specific solution.
100%. 100%. But if you're left to your own devices on Instagram or wherever you spend time, it's easy to fall victim to this. And so it's just becoming aware. Like the first step is admitting you have a problem. And then
social media anonymous.
Yes. And then, being more intentional with your time. And like you said, like treating it like a business and like going in intentionally and putting boundaries in, spending more time engaging with your clients, your ideal clients, and also the other local businesses in your area that serve a similar audience but have different products and service offerings to yours. Like spend more time focused on connecting with those people and using social media to network locally rather than using it to see, using it as a weapon against yourself to see what everybody else is doing and that you're not enough and all of those things.
I mean, you're essentially competition for me, yet we were like, hey, we totally get each other in the world we're in. And it was more of a bonding point than it was like, oh, stay away. Right? It can be somebody who just totally gets what you're going through. And oftentimes when I look at other service providers or what would be perceived as competition for lash artists, skincare therapists, all of that, they're actually can be your greatest ally because so many solo artists can never take time off. So if you have somebody that you can like send your clients to when you need a weekend off or you're sick or you have to go on maternity leave, it's a safe resource for you to have a highly qualified person that you're like, yep, I trust her work. Go see her and then come back to me. And you guys have this understanding that like, you're not stealing each other's clients. You're giving each other the opportunity to have a break as fellow business owners when you need it.
100%. But part of that, and we're in alignment on this, is because I believe that in the abundance of the market as well, right? Like, I don't believe there's enough coaches out there to serve the industry, right? Like, I think there needs to be more of us, right? Like, and so having that thought as well, just, it serves me and it, and
that's what your brain picks up on. It's just like, how can we get more of us out there?
100%. Yeah. And then it's fun. It's like having support networks are a critical part of just feeling connected and not feeling alone because, entrepreneurship can be lonely.
Yeah. And social media is that's a huge bonus point for social media is just how easy it is to connect with others. 100%. Even influencers, even celebrities, whatever you want to call them, all of a sudden now you can have a direct conversation with them without ever knowing who they are. It's just, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on. Share with everybody listening where they can find out more about you and kind of who you serve and how you serve them and where they can just learn more from you.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. It's been so much fun. So the best places to connect with me are on Instagram at Heather Terveen. Feel free to shoot me a DM over there. I would love to connect with you. And then I also have a podcast that Tara will be coming on as well. Woohoo, called the Skin CEO Podcast. And I really work with estheticians and spa and med spa owners and beauty business owners as well. So I'd love to connect with you over on Instagram or come listen to the podcast.
Yeah, and we'll link all that up in the show notes so it's real easy for you guys to find. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Tara.
Bye.